Hi, I'm Paul Modiano from Logical Developers, and in this video I'm going to show you how to add a Google map to an IronSpeed Designer application. In order to generate a Google map, you either need to have a longitude and latitude, or you need to have an address. We're going to go with address for this demonstration, and so I have a very simple database with one table called address, in which there is an address ID, which is the primary key, the name, presumably, of the person at that address, address 1, address 2, city, state, and zip. What we have here is an equally simple application that was done in IronSpeed Designer that is based on this one table, which actually has only one record in it at the moment, and it gives you the ability to add, edit, or view, or delete records. I'm going to ask it to view by clicking the magnifying glass, and you can see it shows the name, the address 1, there is no address 2 here, the city, state, and the zip. Let's see if we can add a map to this page. Here's the application in the layout editor of IronSpeed Designer. We're going to go to the Show Address page, which receives the address that we want to map. This looks exactly like what we saw, and we want to put a map, say, underneath it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 cells and I'm going to merge them. The next thing I want to do is look on my toolbox for the Google Maps section, and from there I'm going to take a Google map where it asks for location, and I'm going to drag that into my big cell, and it calls it map, which is fine. Normally you would want to rename it, but we're going to leave it named as is. Now we could see in the properties box for this map that it wants to create a Google map with these coordinates, which are actually the coordinates of IronSpeed's headquarters. We don't want that. We want it to map the address that we have above here, and we want to separate those with commas. So what we're going to do is say address 1 plus apostrophe, comma, apostrophe, plus, we're going to skip address 2. I'll just go to city plus and there we have it. Not too hard, was it? So let me just say okay. What have we done? We have just created a Google map. Let's see what it looks like. Now that we've rebuilt our application and it's taken us back to our table page, let's see what our record looks like now. And there you have it, a beautiful Google map. Now the only thing is, you notice that I cannot move it. I'm holding my mouse down and trying to move it. So it's not your typical interactive map that you see. This is a sort of a plain Jane map. Let's see if we can get an interactive map going. So back in Designer, I'm going to go back to the Google map and grab the parameters that we used, and I'm going to copy them to my clipboard, and then I'm just going to delete the map. There we go. I'm going to go back to the Google Maps from the toolbox, and I'm going to drag in Google Interactive Map. Before I do that, I just want to tell you that it's going to ask me whether I want to retrieve geolocation from the browser or the phone, whatever it is, and it's asking that because it wants to tell the user that it is retrieving the geolocation. And you could do this in 2 ways. You could drag it in and it'll ask you, or you can configure your application, and one of the things that you'll see is geolocation in your new page options. And if you open that up, retrieve user location, this is set to no. This is something you could just switch on right here. So I'm just going to do that, manually save that, and now I'm going to take my Google Interactive Map and I'm going to drag it into here. I'm also going to again merge those cells so it puts that up, and then finally I'm going to go back into my map configuration and I'm going to paste in my original parameters. Now let's see what it looks like. Now when the application is run, you can see that it asks the user, would you like to share your location? And you could say share location, or never do it, or do it this once. And we're going to go and look at our map. And you can see we have a much more interactive map. We can move it, and we can see satellite view of it. We could save it. We could ask for directions. A whole lot of things. One final thing to note is that if you're going to use maps very often, it's probably a good idea to get an API key from Google. In your web config, there are a whole bunch of values, and a couple of them are over here, and it's Google Key and Google Client ID. You could see that they are currently blank. That's the way it is by default. But if you go to Google, and you can go to developers.google.com/maps/signup, you can come here to acquire a API key. I hope that this video has been helpful. For more information, you can visit the resources at ironspeed.com or logicaldevelopers.com. Thanks for watching.